English, as you all know, has an ocean of vocabulary, right? Well, obviously because it is so full of vocabulary. Definitely there are certain times wherein we end up messing certain words. I mean, we're not exactly sure of the meaning, but yes, we start using them in our day-to-day language, and we sometimes or many times we end up misusing those words at the wrong situations. Well, obviously we might, probably because we assume the meaning to be a certain way, and hence we start using it in the context of whatever that the discussion is going on, and we end up without even realizing the entire meaning changes. Well, what are these certain common mistakes or certain common words which we end up using incorrectly? Well, let's go ahead and explore what these words are. Well, you all are once again most welcome to Tutorials Point. Let us go ahead and explore these certain words which we might not be using in the probably the most appropriate context or the most appropriate manner. Okay, so per use. So what is per use or perusal? Well, perusal sometimes is confused as just skimming through the entire text or just brushing up whatever the passage or whatever the content is. Well, not really. Perusal doesn't mean superficial skimming. On the contrary, perusal means to read something really attentively with, noticing all the minute details. So next time you end up using this word perusal, be careful of where to use it. Consent. Well, consent is yet another widely misused word, or I won't say misused, but I think to put it better, is again a word which is most of the time misunderstood. Well, consent doesn't really or doesn't always mean that the person is giving an enthusiastic permission, or for that matter agreement to any subject or any discussion or any context which is being discussed. On the contrary, consent would also mean just passively agreeing and would not mean always agreeing enthusiastically or fully. Even if you are not completely convinced of something, but you are still giving it a green signal, you are letting it go, or that also could mean you gave a consent to whatever the permission that was being you were asked for, but you weren't completely convinced of the authenticity of the same. So you could also give a consent when you are still not 100% convinced of the authenticity, and it not necessarily means that you could the only time when you could give a consent to something was when you are completely in favor of that. So definitely you might want to use it at the right place. Okay, enormity. Well, a widely and hugely confused word because it resembles enormous, so we confuse it as something that is very big and enormous. Well, not really. So enormity actually means a very profoundly evil or an immoral act or a heinous crime as well. So I was confused or I was surprised by the enormity of the crime. So that is the right context for the usage of this word. So next time, be careful where you are using this word, because the meaning could be very different to what you might assume it to be. Chronic. Well, chronic is yet another confused or not exactly confused, is yet another misused word because most people assume chronic to be a disease or something. Well, chronic not really means a disease. Chronic means, or for that matter, disease or something that is severe or intense. Well, not really. Chronic doesn't really mean something that is severe or intense or a disease per se, but yes, chronic actually means something which has been existing for quite some time, for a long period of time, for a very long period of time. right? So for example, you could be in chronic pain. So I've been in chronic pain, which means that you have been in that pain for quite some time, maybe many years or many days or months or whatever. So anything which exists for a long period of time is actually tagged as chronic. So now that you are aware of what the right meaning is, well, use it at the right place. Okay, well, IE, what is IE? Again, is usually misunderstood as for example. Well, IE doesn't really mean for example. IE, on the contrary, means in other words, right? So, stop using it if you're using the wrong way. Ultimate, well, I had the ultimate party last night. Well, ultimate actually means, something, usually ultimate is confused as a word which means the best, right? So something which was, so I had the best party ever last night. So I had an ultimate party last time, I had an ultimate time with him. Well, ultimate not actually really means the best or something which is the pinnacle. Well, on the contrary, ultimate means the final entry in the list of items. So there are chances, if you had an ultimate party or if you spent an ultimate time, there are chances that you might not party again, you might not spend time with the person for the next time. So you might want to be very careful before using this word, because ultimate actually means the final entry, right? So he is the ultimate candidate in this entire in today's list of people who are giving the interview. So be careful where to use this word, because it could mean completely different to what you assume it to be. Decimate, what is decimate? Again, it is assumed as a word with the which means that something, which means to eradicate something fully and completely. Well, not really. Decimate doesn't mean to eradicate something completely. On the contrary, yes, not exactly on the contrary, but yeah, decimate actually means to erase off something or to wipe off or eradicate something to a great extent, but not completely. So you might want to use it carefully next time again, because unless you are sure that something has happened fully and completely or something has been eradicated completely, you might not want to use this word. So now that you're aware, just use it carefully. So be careful that it does not mean to eradicate something completely. On the contrary, it only means to eradicate something to a great extent, but not completely. Well, all these words, if you've been using and if you feel you somehow didn't use them in the right context, now is the chance just to improve so that you are really great with your language skills. Well, I will see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning with Tutorials Point and Tutorix. Have a good day.